Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show is The Listening Mentor. I am the Listening Mentor, and I am delighted and honored to be joined each week by elevated listeners who are on my team. These are individuals from across the world who have invested their time to become an elevated listener. What does that mean? You want to get to know these people. These are the people that you want to have in your inner circle. These are people you want to do business with. These are people you want to network with. And they will hold a safe space for you to share and for you to feel that you've been heard. Let's welcome our elevated listener who joins us every week, pretty much. I'm so happy that she's back. She's the Harley Street stress expert, and her name is Caroline Heward. Let's welcome her to the program.
Hello.
Hi, so nice to see you again.
It's always good to see you, Dr. Jacalyn.
It was lovely just having a chat with you backstage, and you really are very good at zoning in, helping people focus on where their anxiety is coming from, their stress is coming from, and then helping to bust that stress buster.
Well, it's literal. I was always a literal girl. I say it as it is.
Well, you say it very well. And I know one of our team members has been very happy working with you. He's actually been posting things around for us to see. And I've worked with you, and I'm going to continue working with you. You really are a breath of fresh air in how you help take down the walls and really get to the core cause, a root of what's going on.
And that's the best way. And it's easy. We've only spent a few minutes together, and it was really quick, and there's no drama with it. It's revelating and it's liberating.
Yes, it absolutely is. So, Caroline, before we get on to our discussion topic for today, I just want to share with our audience, if they're thinking to themselves, hey, I am a great listener. I can multitask. I can look at the back of your head, and I can be an effective listener. What are some of the things that you've learned about being an elevated, effective listener?
It's very difficult to be doing one thing and to be talking to somebody and listening. So if somebody's talking to you and you're distracted on a phone call or a text message or a WhatsApp message or social media, essentially you're not there listening because you're distracted. And it's not possible, believe you me, it's not possible to listen, actively hear what the other person is saying, as well as being distracted in your social media or in your phone. Or if you've got your eyes away from them, 80% of our communication is nonverbal. So it's really difficult to pick up on the nonverbal communication if you're not actually looking at them. And so if you're looking away, your eyes are averted, you're just not getting all of the communication. You're missing 80%. So if your head is to the back of them and you're not seeing their eyes, then you will not hear everything that they're saying.
Thank you so much. And if you think about it, different times in your life when you're trying to have a conversation and they keep looking down or they will not look at you, that usually is an indication of them hiding something or keeping something from you, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So I just want to share also with our audience that we have this show on a regular basis, and we now have it Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And on Wednesdays, I'm joined by Madeline Chan, and we actually have a new course coming out. So I want to just talk a little bit about the courses, and then we'll get into the subject matter. So we currently have foundational courses that people can take, and they are parts 1 and 2 of the Power of Listening over on Eventbrite. And once you complete the first 2 courses, which Caroline has, you get a certificate of completion, and you are an elevated listener, and you can come onto the show. When you take parts 3, 4, and 5, 3 is the background that I have here. That is where it's the union of your breath, your voice, and also your listening skills. And Madeline walks people through various activities, including affirmations to nursery rhymes. And Caroline, you also took that course. The new course is part 4, which obviously is in between 3 and 5. And that's kind of important because part 3 is really the focus of us leaving the egocentric, materialistic world. And then part 5 is once you get to that 5D world where you're leading with your heart. But what happens in between? In between is that transition, is that what the heck is going on if I give up all of these egocentric ideas or ways of practicing my life and I go to a world where I'm lifting up others? What do I have to do in between there and there? And that's what part 4 is. So we'll be announcing that this evening. So look for it on social media. Caroline, I would love to talk to you about how anxiety and stress affects our behavior and our listening skills. What are your thoughts on that?
I have many, because I have a lot of people that call me that are highly anxious. And it's very difficult to drop a call on somebody that's highly anxious because, one, they're not listening. It's very difficult for them to listen because their mind is so full. They're literally hearing, they're in a dialogue all of their own that you can't hear, but there's a lot of conversation that's going on. And so when you're in a high level of anxiety or stress, there is an inner dialogue going on, and anxiety is focused on the future stuff. So worry and concern about, if I do this, that might happen. And if I don't do that, that will happen. And what if I do this? And if I say that, will she be happy? Won't he be happy? And there's like sort of a whole scenario that builds up, a whole soap opera, and it's all in your mind, and it's not actually true because it's all in the mind, in your conversation, in your world. But what happens when you get to that point and you've got yourself really worked up, and I call it, I very elegantly say, when you wind yourself up like a little spinny top, then all the emotion behind those experiences that you've been drawing out in your mind start to play havoc with how you're experiencing your body. You start to experience the stress, your breathing changes, you'll get very short in the breathing, and the whole body starts to respond and react, and nothing has actually happened. Nothing. It's all been in your mind. And so you will speak differently, you'll breathe in a very shallow way. It will give you challenges in your sleep. In terms of you won't be able to sleep, or you'll fall to sleep exhausted and then you'll wake up and not fall asleep again. And it's a vicious circle. And the whole premise of the fact that this is going on in the mind is that it becomes very real to you. And so you will start enacting in situations as if that's really going on for you, and it's not.
So well said. I remember various times in my life when I went to see a therapist or went to see a coach, and even now as a coach, we start off with, what would you like to discuss today? Blah, 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 blah. Like it could be 5 minutes of blah, blah, blah before you actually get to something that is real, right? Because we are so worked up and we're so, I don't want to use the word desperate, but focused on getting it addressed right this second. So in other words, something's been building for a long time. We want immediate answers. If I hire you, can you give me the answer? Can you make me figure it out right now? And sadly, that's not how it works, because we have to learn through the journey. And I think that I love that analogy of the spinning top, because that really That's all of us. We've all been spinning tops at various times.
Yeah.
So working with you help people slow that top down, right? And eventually make the top stop. That's a good one. So that when we come into situations again where we feel ourselves all wound up, we know how to address it and how to stop that top from spinning so quickly as well.
I make people laugh, about the spinny top, because I just say, there you go, wind yourself up again like a little spinny top. Can you see yourself doing it? And I let them spin themselves round for like 5 minutes, and they say, are you done now? But it's only when they have the experience of doing it, and then you call them on it in the immediate moment that they've just kind of worked themselves right up, that they realize that they have to kind of sometimes do it to see that that's what they're doing. And then, I can call out on somebody's behavior when they're displaying it. It's very difficult to discuss somebody's behavior because they'll deny it. So as soon as they have done it, I will call them on it straight away, because behavior is not something that you're aware of, something you're thinking about. It's something you're being. And it's something that is just happening because of how you are feeling and experiencing your life. So it's not something that you'll necessarily be aware of until somebody calls you on it.
And Caroline, when you have a conversation with someone, let's say this is just in a social setting, family setting, etc., and you're with someone who isn't, I'm going to use the word, awakened to their own behavior, and if there's a way to point it out, sometimes people kind of flip out. They get offensive, or defensive, I should say, and then become offensive. What do you mean? What are you talking about? But we can actually see through that. And these are rituals and defense mechanisms that people put up to protect themselves. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. That is exactly what it is. And we don't know how we're being until somebody says. We don't know how it's being received because we're not observing ourselves. And that's one of the heightened things that I do in my sessions. I call out the behavior so that people become the witness. Because when you can witness what you're doing, then you can do something about it. But if you don't see it and you're not aware of it, how can you? And so it is very difficult if it's a good friend or it's somebody that, is a family member. It's very challenging because the defense mechanism will come straight up. So it's about being very compassionate with them, sort of hearing them out and taking them, sort of in your confidence without attacking them. And it is a fine line, because there will be the defense mechanism, because nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to feel that. And so sometimes it's easier to kind of let them say everything they need to say or be the behavior that they want to be, and actually respond in a more compassionate way, so it slows them down, so they feel safe, because the behaviors are coming out because they don't feel safe, and it's protection.
I love that. Be a witness to your own behavior.
It's powerful, because when you can see what you're doing, then it's funny. And it is, that's what sitcoms are made of. It's, people running around in a daze and like sort of being angry with everybody, for instance. That's the best soap operas are like that. I'm always laughing, because I'm seeing, the funniness of the behaviors. Because I used to like, there was a program called The Bill, and it was the policemen were interviewing people, and when they came out of the interview room, they would say he was lying. And I just used to think it was funny, and they would like have a conversation and say, did you see his eyes? He's not looking at me, he's lying, he's just told a load of. And I just used to think that, it was funny because they were demonstrating, they were calling them out at the point, and so it was interesting to me and funny at the same time, because policemen do observe behaviours. They observe not just what you say, but the non-verbal communication. And 80% of our communication is non-verbal. So our eyes, our gestures, our facial expressions, how we're holding ourselves, everything is communicating. And our body does not lie. We've learnt to lie in terms of the words that we say. Our body can't lie. It doesn't know how to. So, that's why you will get, and I've actually had a client recently that I described this to, that when like an Indian person, for instance, their culture is to not say no. Everything is a yes. And what you get is what I call a wibbly head. And so they go, yes, no problem, no problem, no problem. And what it is that's a combination of no and yes. And so you have no problem. And this isn't, to be detrimental or derisory to them, because their culture is to say yes. They don't say no. They don't want to see, that they're letting you down. So their response, and because the body doesn't lie, comes out as what I call a wibbly head. So they're saying yes and no at the same time with their head, so the body language, but their vocal language is yes, no problem, no problem. But what they're really saying in terms of the physiology is yes, problem, yes, problem. That's what I mean about behavior is funny when you're not in it.
It's so funny. We used to have a show here. I don't know if you had it over there. This is a long time, decades ago, called Lost in Space. And there was this robot that would come through and it'd say, "Warning, Will Roberts." That's those wibbly head or wibbly head warning. This doesn't mean
that. Yes, that was a fun program. It was a long time ago for me. I
think it's 30 or 40 years ago. I didn't remember. But a question I have for you, you do a lot of work on personal development, personal growth. You talk a lot about it. And when you're not with clients and you are in a social setting and you're with people who are not aware of their own behavior, but the fact that they're not aware of it may have an impact on you. Do you stay in those social settings or in those social circles with individuals who are not awakened, who are basically showing disruptive behavior or negativity? Do you try to fix them? What do you do?
It's a good question. I don't, I used to hang around, in inverted commas, literally hang around very much in the personal self-development world for many years. And I could see and feel when people weren't being genuine. And it was hard for me to be in that space, because it was obvious to me they weren't being genuine or authentic. And so I decided to quit the personal self-development world, and I follow what feels right for me. And I tend to be in environments where they're, if you want to use the word awakened, I find that's, for me, that's kind of challenging, because I don't want anyone to feel that I'm saying you're asleep. I just think it's different degrees of consciousness, that some people are aware of some things, some people aren't. So I kind of, sort of look at it as your level of consciousness in terms of, what you're witnessing, what you're experiencing. And we're all on our journeys. There is no good or bad. We're all here to learn, to grow, and to observe, and to make our journey and our changes in life for ourselves and for others, our family. So I kind of consider that we're all here doing our best in the consciousness and the level of education and knowledge and awareness that we have. So when things are difficult, yes, I do find myself stretching out and kind of educating, I would say, sharing my knowledge without doing too much therapy. I do like to share my knowledge, and I would say I was much more of an educator than trying to therapize them, in a social setting. So sharing, and I might turn around and say something like, would you like another perspective on that? That's one of the phrases that I use. Or could I share something different, so that you could see it in a different way? And I usually get, so yeah. Or some people say, no, I'm not interested. This is the way it is. And you can't change my mind. And so that's okay, because, people are in their own space and on their own journey. So I do a lot of meditation, and there isn't that interaction in terms of getting into those situations. But it is an interesting one. Certainly with my family, I can't say anything, so I don't. So I'm compassionate. I listen compassionately. I do my very best to be there for them in whatever they need.
That takes a very strong person, because many times people will just turn their back or just close the door and say, go fix yourself, and then come back.
Well, I've been doing this work now for over 2 decades, so I've learnt to have some patience, and I've learnt to handle what I need to handle. But that doesn't mean to say that I don't get stressed or things don't affect me, because of course they do, because I'm human, and there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on right now. All sorts of things, sort of tipping out of the cupboard, so to speak.
Wait, think close. No kidding.
There's all sorts of, craziness going on right now. England in particular, I'm not sure, because I've not kept up with the news greatly. We're having very high levels of inflation right now. So prices of normal everyday things are really skyrocketing, which is causing a lot of stress and anxiety for people. And that is a reality, that people are concerned, about the raising inflation that we're experiencing. I'm not sure where it is globally, because I haven't kind of checked in. I've had a lot of calls. It's been a little crazy, and I've been doing a lot of meetings, which is good, and it's and that's in the collective. That's affecting everyone, and so there are people then that are responding in an angry way. So they might be angry to you. Well, they'll have their own anger, but it isn't yours. And if you're responding to that anger by being angry back, then that anger is yours to deal with, and they'll have their own anger. And this is the behavioral part of the chakra psychology. So it's how the mind and body connects, and what happens to the person physically, emotionally, mentally, and behaviorally when there's an imbalance. And the imbalance is, sort of coming out of the person in all sorts of ways. And the behaviors are a classic way to see what's going on for them.
Wow, you've given us a lot to think about there. Thank you. And for people who are just joining us for the first time, I'm going to spotlight you. What does it mean to be the Harley Street stress expert, especially if you're outside of the London area?
The Harley Street stress expert, which I've named myself, is I've been in Harley Street as a licensed practitioner at number 10 Harley Street since 2005. And it is the place, the destination, and world, sort of in terms of Europe and London, known that Harley Street is the famous street for very established and qualified doctors and very good complementary and alternative therapists. So what they do is they essentially check your credentials, that you are what you say you are, and they have a license to practice there. So you can't just go and work there. You have to have a license to practice. So it's a credibility check. It's a kudos check to say, I am in Harley Street, and so that gives me, instead of people questioning my credentials and my qualifications and my expertise, it's there. It's a credential check.
Fantastic. And you said you've been there since 2005?
Right, yeah. I started doing this work in 2000, And then I thought, well, if I'm going to do this seriously, if I'm going to become a therapist, so just because I was a corporate girl before, I thought, well, I want to work from the right place. It's no good saying 3 Riverside or, sort of 13 Homesdale, because that doesn't give me the feeling that I'm used to. I was used to working at very established organizations, and in PR and marketing, and branding was always very important. So I thought, well, what I'm going to do is, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this seriously and properly. And I'm going to have, work from the right kind of address, which meant that, I had to go through that credentials check, which is really great, and it costs to be there. And at the same time, it's, for me, it feels like it answers 1,000 questions of people feeling uncomfortable or comfortable with working with you.
Well, congratulations on your longevity and your success. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And you do work with people from all over the world, correct?
Yes, yeah. Well, now we've changed. Our world has become smaller because we have things like Zoom. I would never have had this incredible relationship and friendship with you if it wasn't for Zoom. It just a Zoom and a StreamYard. And the fact that you're in America and I'm in London, England. This is what's happened. It's beautiful in my living room, on my laptop. When you think about it, it's, I sort of have this expression of, it's kind of cool that
It is.
that we can do this, because when I started doing this work, there was no internet in the way that it is today. In 2000, 2001, 2002, when I started doing this, there was no Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Google wasn't like it is today. There was no Eventbrite. There was none of those things that are here today. There was certainly no Zoom or StreamYard. So we've moved a long, long way, and to do something like this would have literally been impossible. And so in having these very simple and yet advanced technologies, it means that I can be global, literally in my own front living room. It's beautiful, isn't it? Really, it's kind of, I find it quite fantastical that we can do this. And so instead of me just seeing the one person by one person, coming to see me physically, I can now reach out and help more people globally, and the fact that you have this incredible platform, I feel very gifted that you love the work I do and you offer this platform to me, because one of the things I want to do is to play my part in creating world peace. And playing my part is to reach as many people as I possibly can. And I don't have the technical know-how to do that, but I kind of join people that have that technical ability so that I can reach more people and help more people, and then satisfy my need to play my part to create world peace. And it's very satisfying to be able to reach people in this way, because I never really would have thought of myself doing anything like this 2 years ago. Not at all. It just wasn't even on my radar.
I totally agree with you. I think it's incredible. This morning we had the Power of Etiquette and Manners with Philip Sykes, and he's over in the UK. But we had a gentleman on from Africa, and in the part of Africa where he is, they don't have Wi-Fi that's available all the time, or that's as strong as what I have here and what you have there. And to be able to have him on the platform talking about what it is he's doing about bringing more education and resources to Africa, it's incredible, because the more the word gets out, the more that's going to happen. And these platforms are amazing. And the fact that we have access to this technology, I remember my father was always obsessed with technology. I mean, he'd have 4 screens in front of him and 2 phones and he's like checking out things all over the world. And I always thought he was kind of like, but he was ahead of his time. And now it's the fact that I'm doing something that is completely the foundation of which is technology, right? If there's no technology, we're not doing this. It just makes me smile.
Well, I feel the same, and I've done a lot of training in America over the years. and I have a real affinity with the Americans in a huge way. And the fact that I'm here on sort of a global American TV station kind of fits me perfectly because I have such an affinity with the Americans because I've trained with a lot of Americans, which is why the work that I do is direct and is to the point, because that's the people that I've trained with. And a lot of people, British people, actually say to me that they love my direct manner, and my direct approach. And that's because, I've been working with so many Americans. That's the way it is. I'm kind of the polite American, really, in terms, I have all the American directness, and polite with it, to me.
Well, and that makes a big difference because I think in different parts of this country, the United States, people are direct, especially on the East Coast. And some people are direct and polite, and some people just don't care. They just give it to you. You like it or you don't. And then they're moving on. I always think it's interesting where I am now in Florida. And I showed this before, but there's this big outdoor path that is about 2.2 miles. And I have been walking it for 40 years probably. And I see people and I always say, hello. Now with COVID, I might, before they get to me 6 feet, hello, wave, nothing, zero. And I used to turn around, this is before COVID, I would go, hello, are you listening? and I would get no response. So I don't know if it was listening skills or they just weren't interested in connecting. But the point is, I think it's really important to connect, and we have technology at our fingertips that we can do this. And I'm just so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful that you come here and share your expertise, because people are dealing with a lot of stress and they don't know what to do with it. And you help them figure it out and bust that stress wide open.
And it's beautiful for me. I do what I love and I love what I do. And that's because I've solved my own. And I'm not perfect, because I'm human and things come up for me. And I work with mentors and I go to other people's meditations and let them look after me, if that makes sense. So I'm not doing everything for myself. I go out and get my meditations from other people, because then I can just indulge. I call it my indulgence. I'm going to indulge in somebody else's practice, because in that way, I'm actually moving better, indulging in more practice, deeper practice, where I'm not like sort of so conscious of it. I can lose myself in somebody else's meditation practice, which is really beautiful. I mean, this weekend, I'm going to be dancing online on Sunday, and that's a meditation practice. And the following weekend, there was a beautiful, amazing guy who was doing dance meditations, shamanic dance meditations in London. And as soon as the pandemic started in March 2020, he cancelled the dance on Friday the 13th of March. And he went off to Goa and he stayed there. And I kept messaging him saying, I'm really missing your dances. I'm really craving to do your dances. And he said, so he's actually now set up one for next week on Saturday, live from Goa, with all the tech, because they have attention on the tech. And I can't wait. I'm really excited. And it's like sort of, you can create good stuff, despite the fact that we're in this crazy changed world. Or you can focus on the not so good stuff and create more of that. And so, yes, I'm focused on creating what feels good for me and what makes me feel happy and makes me feel joyous. And because I'm praising somebody, because I'm actually saying, I'm so excited, I really wish you could do something for us in London. Remember your London fans. And he's popped up and he's done something specially for us online. And this is the gratitude, when you're grateful for the good things, then the good things become more.
And I'm just wondering, are these meditation dances, dancing and meditating, are these open to the general public?
Yeah, I post them on my Facebook wall. You could join in if you wanted to.
How do we join in?
Well, it's all on Eventbrite, so you just book in. I've actually posted Benjamin's shamanic dance next week on Saturday, and it's, you just book in on Eventbrite, and then he does it via Zoom. So
Fantastic.
and you know, and this is what I mean about it being, he's in Goa and I'm in London, and I'm going to be dancing, you know, and this is because his stuff is really good. He's really got it choreographed beautifully. You know, he's doing the meditation, the breath work, and essentially it's a journey through the chakras. It's a journey essentially for your intentions to create, to manifest. So you bring everything with you. I mean, this is not just dancing and just dancing. This is silent in your living room, without your phone, without the social media, and literally dancing through to dissolve anything you don't need and manifest what you want.
That's beautiful. And also burning some calories and getting into a good place mentally, right? Just
Oh
letting
God,
it all go.
I'm always orgasmic at the end. Well, you know, dance, you feel good, you know,
Definitely.
and that's what I mean. You know, I feel it's called an ecstatic shamanic dance, what Benjamin's doing, and that's exactly how you feel. You feel ecstatic, you feel good. But it's not about watching the screen, you know, because that's not how you get the experience. It's about literally dancing. You know, there's an expression, dance like nobody's watching you.
Yes.
And I dance like that all the time. And it's really, it just makes you feel good, you know, because it releases all sorts of like wonderful, happy, you know, chemicals and hormones, and it makes you feel really alive. And, you know, who wouldn't want to feel like that? Especially, you know, I was doing a lot of those dances online when we had big lockdown, and I was wooing and, you know, sort of going, whoop, you know, and, you know, sort of really getting out of breath because I'm breathing as well. I close my eyes and I'm breathing. So I really have an incredible internal journey. And so my whole body is literally in the dance. And so I'm feeling incredibly amazing, like I've been at a party. And I've done it in my own front room. And it's a meditation, it's a dance meditation. And so meditation doesn't mean that you have to sit on a mountaintop and cross your legs and om. I do lots of different meditations that are much more fun than that. And this is the challenge, that a lot of people think that meditation is that you have to put yourself away somewhere and, you know, you have to take time out. You can actually, you know, everything can be a meditation. When I shower, I'm in a meditation. So I feel the water, you know, I'm in the shower for about 15-20 minutes, and it's my cleansing ritual. And I'm in the shower and I'm just feeling the water on my back, and I'm literally groaning, going, oh, you know, in the shower. And there's nobody listening. There's only, you know, me. It's how I'm experiencing it. And that's a meditation. And really, meditation is about being present with whatever you're doing, whether you're shopping, cooking, eating, whether you're watching a movie, whether you're in a phone conversation. Here, we're in a meditation.
Mhm.
Have you noticed that you frequently say, when I've been, you know, sort of answering a question, oh, I feel so zen.
Yes, absolutely. I feel very zen with you. And it's a gift. It really is. And it's the gift that you're giving people a 30-minute Zoom stress buster consultation. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, when you're stressed, and it might be that you don't recognize when you're stressed, you say, oh, I'm not stressed, but there's things that you're handling, you know, and we're all handling lots of different things in this changed time of our world. And so in this changed time, especially, there'll be logical things and practical things that we're having to deal with, having to handle. And so if you're saying, oh, I'm not stressed, it'll be that the tip for you is, what are you complaining about? So is it, are you complaining about low back pain, knee pain? Are you complaining about neck pain, throat problems, hair loss, skin problems? So this is a physical thing, sleep problems. It might be that you're angry, that you're sort of being angry with everybody. It might be that you're feeling sad. It might be that you're feeling nervous, apprehensive all the time. So it's whatever it is that you're complaining about, that will be your stress. And that will be your indicator of what's not working. And essentially, if we'll connect on Zoom, so we'll book in an appointment, best to email me because I'm not always getting to my phone. And if I miss calls, then it's not so easy. So if you email me on nomorestress@live.co.uk, which is on the screen now, we can arrange a Zoom consultation so I can see you. And you tell me what's going on for you, what's not working, and I will identify root cause of what's not working. And you will feel a liberation from that stress, and you will feel a level of relaxation that you haven't normally felt. And the side effect, and I always say it's a very welcome and beautiful side effect, is that you'll sleep really well after the consultation. And I can only do 1 or 2 symptoms. I can't sort out everything in that free consultation, but it's enough of an experience for you to feel that you've got huge value. And if you want more of me, then we look at, sort of booking in some sessions.
And Caroline, what is your email address, please?
It's no more stress, as the 3 words, no, N-O, more, M-O-R-E, stress, S-T-R-E-S-S, at live, live.co.uk.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you here today and see you. And thanks for sharing your 30-minute Zoom stress buster consultation with our audience. It's free, folks. So go over to nomorestress@live.co.uk. And Caroline, we hope to see you again next week or whenever your schedule permits.
I can't believe it's over. I mean, it goes so quickly.
I know. We have one show after another, so it's
where does the time go?
It goes by so quickly. But I will be reaching out to you myself as well, and look forward to you coming back hopefully as soon as you can.
Well, thank you very much. It's been my honor always to be here. Thank you. And thank you for your wonderful friendship, Dr. Jacalyn.
I appreciate it. Thank you for yours. You really brighten my day.
Wonderful. Take care and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She's such a doll, such a delight, so authentic, really puts her heart in everything that she does. And she's there to help you. She's there to help me. So please do contact her. I want to share a little bit about some of the power of listening opportunities that we have for you. I'm just looking for my slides. So here are some of the courses that we offer, the power of listening. You'll see on the left side, as you look at the screen, foundational courses, parts 1 and 2. These are the courses, when you complete them, we're offering them actually together at the same time. Then you can take a test. And if you pass the test with 100%, or I should say when you pass the test, then you can become an elevated listener and you can be on our show. You could actually interact with Caroline and with me and our other team members. We also have the power of music, voice, and listening. This is what I spoke about earlier. And it's about acknowledging the fact that we live in a 3D world, some of us, and some of us are in a 5D world. What are the differences, and how can we live in a place where we lead with our heart and have inner peace? We also have a new course you'll see here, Speaking to Be Heard. I'm going to be posting about this over the weekend. And then part 5 is Intuition of the Heart. And this is also with Madeline Chan, as is part 3. And this is an extension of part 3, which is leaving the ego behind, leading with the heart, and having inner peace. So thank you so much for listening. You can sign up for all of our courses on my personal website, which is drjacalyn.com. Book your session. So I hope you will join us. I look forward to seeing you, and we'll be right back with our next show, which is Loving Longevity. See you soon. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye, Caroline.